Friday, 25th of December, 1778, came with a bright sun and a genial winter's air to the Ohio River. The day marked the first time ever that Christmas was celebrated at what would become Louisville. The first settlers, the kin of soldiers enlisted in George Rogers Clark's Illinois Regiment, arrived in 1778 and erected a fort and named it appropriately Fort on Shore. Pleased with the thought of the approaching holiday, the newcomers decided to give their new quarters a housewarming on Christmas Day. Among those who would partake in the festivities was Captain John Dunn, and with him Cato Watts, his slave. According to the customs of the times, two things, a feast and a dance, were necessary to properly celebrate Christmas. Provisioning the feast would be easy enough. Food was abundant throughout the land. Yet the real difficulty lied in the music for the dance, which shall become plain shortly. At the storehouse, dinner was served. There was venison, bear, rabbit, turkey, and raccoon and buffalo meat, prepared in different ways. There was corn pone, hoe cake bread, batter cakes and hominy, which was boiled and fried. But the great dish of the occasion was possum on a stick, baked whole and hung by its tail at the center of the table. Everyone present had a piece. When the dinner was over, the table was cleared from the room, and all was put in order for the dance. Cato himself had furnished music all summer and fall in 1778, while the settlers toiled to erect Fort on Shore. Yet, on this occasion, the music was entrusted to a traveler from France, a nobleman no less, who had been traveling along the Ohio River and had docked near the mainland for repairs to his boat. He also was a talented violinist. To begin, the Frenchman tried what was known in those days as a brandi. He arranged the dancers in a circle around the room, with hands joined, and showed them how to leap in circles and keep one another in constant motion. But the dancers would or could not follow his promptings. They got out of time and out of figure too, and some of the boys, instead of leaping in circles, showed their agility by leapfrogging over one another's heads. The Frenchman was disgusted, but quickly resolved to try another figure to preserve the mood. He advanced to the center of the room, and after touching upon the grace and beauty of the minuet, arranged the parties for that dance. He showed them how to make a long, graceful bow, how to balance, and how to glide forward. Then, taking his position at the side of the room, he began once more to play on his violin and direct the figure. A scene followed that surpassed the previous one in all ridiculousness. The dancers, instead of gliding, hopped across the floor. And when it came to the bow, instead of drawing it out to a long, graceful length, as instructed by the music, they bobbed their heads up and down in quick succession, like geese dodging a shower of stones. Monsieur became disgusted beyond endurance. Although he spoke very fair English, he now lost that faculty, and in his rage and despair, rattled away in his native French, like an empty wagon over a rough pavement. After the first flush of passion had subsided, he planted his back against the wall and stood with his violin under his arm, a grim, pale statue of indignation and despair. Just at that junction, a face, grinning from ear to ear, was seen entering the room. It was the slave, Cato Watts, whose music was familiar to all the revelers. Cato said, "Monsieur, may you give me the honor of playing tonight's entertainment for our guests while you rest?" "Gladly," blurted the Frenchman, ceding the floor to Cato. Cato struck the bow on his fiddle, beginning an old Virginia reel, and quick as thought the males arranged themselves along one side of the room, and the females lined themselves on the other, each having selected a partner in the twinkling of an eye. Down through the hall dashed the head couple, cutting all sorts of capers, jigs, and hoedowns, until, weary of their violent efforts, they took their stand at the foot of the circle, Then, the next couple did likewise, difference being a little more so or a little less so, until the foot of the circle became the head again, and so on and so forth. No prompting from Cato was necessary. All understood what was to be performed and did it. Cato had guessed rightly that day that though the Frenchman was familiar with the fashionable music and dances of his native land, he would be utterly ignorant of what was suited to the frontier of this country. We should remember what Cato accomplished so long ago during that first Christmas celebration ever to be held along our shores, when his unexpected music made all the boys and girls here think him the greatest man in the world. It may be doubted if the families could have been kept together here had he not been there to cheer them on with his stirring tunes. And more importantly, remind them on Christmas Day of the many sacrifices they made to live a better life than they had ever known before, so as to celebrate one of the holiest of days and make it worthy of veneration. Indeed, Cato Watts helped save the first Christmas in Louisville. The end.